point being held as normally.
Good morning. We're going to start the meeting in just a minute or two.
Oh, yeah, it's a good day.
Please call the roll, please.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Commissioner Brazil, Commissioner Brazil.
Here.
Commissioner Yule,
Here.
Commissioner Marsh, Commissioner Nieto, and Commissioner O'Rourke. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me begin by welcoming everyone to this morning's meeting and to also introduce our executive director. Good morning. This is the time that we set aside for members of the public to address the commission agenda. Pursuant to commission policy, the commission chair will manage the public comment period in deference to the commission's workload and meeting time constraints. Up to 15 minutes are allowed at the beginning of each commission meeting for public comment on items on the agenda. Based on the recent events, more people than usual may want to address the commission. Therefore, if required, we'll go longer than 15 minutes, but may limit this period to no more than 1 hour, as we have many topics to cover on the agenda. Members of the public who wish to speak are asked to limit their remarks to no more than 5 minutes each. If we have any people who wish to speak on the same topic, I, as the chair of this committee, will intervene and will ask that you limit remarks to no more than 1 minute. Pursuant to existing policy, commission policy, the chair may conclude the public comment period and if multiple speakers are voicing repetitive or similar statements, and the 15-minute public comment period has expired. So please be advised that the commission cannot take action on items not on the agenda. Please remember that this meeting is being transcribed, so I may, in the most polite way possible, interrupt and ask that you repeat or speak slowly and clearly so that your comment can be correctly captured in the transcript. If there is anyone who'd like to address the commission during the public comment, when and if it's your turn, if you wish, please state your name and the organization that you represent. So we will open public comment for anyone who wishes to speak. Hearing none, we will close public comment and move for the approval of action summary and minutes. And this would be for the approval of action summary and minutes from the previous committee meeting that was held on June 8th, 2023. So, motion to approve.
Move Brazil.
Second, Nieto.
All right. So there is a second to the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Well, we have a short agenda, but obviously very important items to quickly go over here. We will have Ms. Smith, who will present on expenditures for year to date for fiscal year 2023 and 24 and contract expenditures. And then we have one other item that she will be taking up as well. So I'll turn it over to Cheryl Smith.
Morning. Thank you, Chair Lamont. And welcome, commissioners. Do we have I'm just going to go over where we're currently at for expenditures. So this is showing all the funds, state penalty fund and the general fund, what we've expensed so far. So from the state penalty fund of the 46 million, we've expensed approximately 14 million. From the general fund, of 66 million. So far, we've expensed 21 million. And then the reimbursements. Does anybody have any questions in regards to any of the expenditures? Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is a breakdown of the state penalty fund. So of the state penalty fund, we have different pools of money, standards, training, peace officer training, and then the post administration. So of the standards of the 3.8 million, we've so far expensed 735,000. For training of the 20 million, we've expensed 9 million. And on the peace officer training of the 13.5 million, so far we've expensed a little over 3 million. And then the post administration of the 8.6, we've expensed 1.8 million. Anybody have any questions in regards to the state penalty fund expenditures? Okay, then the next slide is the general fund expenditures. Again, from standards, 17.7 million. We've so far expensed 1.8 million. Training of the 11 million, we've expensed 3.8. And the peace officer training of the 20 million, so far we've expensed 11.9 million. And the post administration, 17.9 mil, we've expensed $4 million. Is there any questions in regards to the general fund expenditures? And then the next slide, we have the commission, any contracts over the 250,000 requiring commission approval. This is where we currently stand with what we've was approved by the commission, executed, what's so far been invoiced, and what the balance is. Is there any questions in regards to those contracts at all? Next slide shows all other contracts not needing commission approval, what the contract amounts are, what we've invoiced so far, and what the balances are. Any questions? And that's the handout that I passed out because we were too late for the agenda. Is there any questions in regards to any of those contracts?
We recognize that this is a new handout and we've not had an opportunity to review it, but again, you know, by commission policy, anything under the threshold of 250, the executive director has the authority to expend, but by policy has to bring this back before the commission, I think by November of each year.
Each year.
Each year, and so this is the summary of what was expended under his authority. So you might want to take just a few seconds to review it, just so that you know. I mean, it seems to comport with expectations of the commission.
Shot Law Group under the Legal Affairs Bureau.
That is for internal investigations when we hire a firm, a law firm. We don't always, but if we feel that it's better to have some independence on internal investigations, then we have we sign a contract with an outside law firm. Shaw Law Group is a law firm that's used by many state entities. So they've done internal investigations for us.
And then also, Manny, I see that the balance is like 806,000. Is this something that we put into the overall budget? So even though you don't come for approval, it is a line item within the budget for you guys to pull from that for these separate contracts?
Yes, so they're expense, so they're already taken out of the budget, so they're already removed from anything that you've seen expensed.
And it is part of the approved budget, so it's not like
Yes.
it's over expenditures or outside expenditures.
It generally comes out of our administrative budget, not out of training or local assistance. And I might add, since we just gave that to you all and it's being presented live stream, but there are copies of that also for anybody in the attendance or anybody from the public that would like to see copies of that. They're in the back of the room.
I do have an overall question. So, because you give us a bunch of numbers and that's great. And we look at it and say, okay, as long as they haven't overspent. But I would like to hear at the end of these meetings that we're within what our guesstimate would have been, that we're not over and under. Because we wouldn't know that just looking at the numbers. You'd have to actually do a deep dive into the budget. And so we'd just like somebody to say, yes, we're where we should be for the year.
Yeah, generally speaking, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Of course.
So this year, we kind of just, to simplify our budget, although it comes up with standards and different buckets, to simplify, we kind of put it into 3 different pieces of the pie. Administration or administrative, which is this, training, delivery, and then local assistance. So on the administration side, which we can't really use the money other than for our salaries and to make sure that the lights are, on in the building and such. We feel like we're gonna have money left over at the end of the year just because of our staffing issues. Primarily because of SB2 and not being able to hire, but we do have staffing issues across the board. So there will be some savings there to the state, money that will be returned. In terms of training and local assistance, we feel we're going to expend all of that money. We've done some calculations as of about 3 weeks ago in terms of our local assistance. Local assistance for the last 2, if not 3 years, we have been returning money. Part of it was COVID and then ramping up. But of the $30+ million that's dedicated for local assistance, we're going to spend all of that. There's no question. As of 3 weeks ago, we had already expended 40% of that. Obviously, 50% will be at the end of this year. So we're really on target with that. The same with training delivery, which is our contracts, which is the earlier slide. So things such as SLI, Command College, the ICI courses, our projections are that we're going to be right on target to spend all of that money. The challenge with it and why you see such low numbers is, as the chair is aware, the state system, they get 3 years to bill us. So it's really far behind. So you see a large balance there, but our projections and what we've already done, if you look at the SLI numbers, for instance, we've been doing SLI constantly, but we've only been billed a tiny amount, even though the SLI courses have been presented. So we do feel like we're going to spend all of that money as well. Yeah.
If I can just give my comment on this, I'm always just dumbfounded when I get to chat with the executive director and Mrs. Smith that you have up to 3 years to submit. And I mean, I'm not an accountant, but how do you keep your books? I mean, you're running 2 separate sets of books just to make sure you're within your annual budget and still can justify why there's so much money sitting out here somewhere else. So but I'm not a state expert.
The only thing that we can tighten down and we have is the local assistance money. So that used to be kind of open-ended. And if you all remember, we passed a regulation probably 5 or so years ago, 6 years ago, saying, hey, when the end of the year is over at June 30th, I think we gave them a 90-day extension, but they have to get us their training reimbursement requests by August or so we can close out those books. But yeah, with the other invoices, it is a challenge. Generally speaking, they bill us, but sometimes it's right towards the end of the year or, shortly thereafter. They don't usually wait 3 years to bill us. They want their money as well.
Every once in a while, somebody will forget to invoice us for something. That's when we see them come in close to the 3-year mark. They just forgot.
But somewhere in the state, someone is slow to submit, which is why I'm assuming they would maintain that up to 3 years. So I just find it amazing. I'm sorry. Are there any other questions of Ms. Smith? You will still have the opportunity, if you see anything of concern, to raise it at the commission meeting.
There's one more slide. So this is just showing what we have expensed so far from the training reimbursement requests. So these are all training that peace officers take, and then they submit them through the electronic data interchange for reimbursements. So where we stand currently, we've processed over 15,000 training reimbursement requests for a total of 5.3 million so far this year. Is there any question? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to old business, in which there is none. So we'll move then to new business, of which there is none. Future meetings that are coming up will be, the committee will meet again on March 7th of 2024, and we'll be in the greater Los Angeles area. And we need, or if either any of you as committee members have anything that you want to raise beforehand, please do. Second to adjourn. Can we just do this? Okay. Any objection? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.